When you need to get an exact measurement scooping any powdered product, we can use a rubber band to help us. Here I'm using it to scoop out salt, but it can be used with any product where you need to shave off top of the measuring cup. Cut off the top third of a plastic bottle. Make small cuts on the edge of both sides. We can use our new bottle as a pencil case or as a container to store herbs. Each type of herb has its own container. Be sure to place the herbs with the stems facing up and store them in the fridge. Pour boiling water over the finely chopped cabbage and immediately blanch it in cold water for 1–2 minutes. Remove the cabbage from the water and let drain completely. Pressing the cabbage into the colander will help remove the water faster. Heat up a frying pan using butter or vegetable oil. Cook the cabbage on medium heat for no more than 5 minutes, stirring constantly. This method of sautéing cooks the cabbage very quickly while retaining its light color. But most importantly, it's incredibly tasty. Our sautéed cabbage is perfect as a side dish or as filling in pastries. After cutting chicken, meat or fish, small pieces of meat might remain on the cutting board. To disinfect our cutting board and wash it quickly, we can clean it using boiling water. The meat will begin to coagulate, making it much easier to clean off the cutting board. Wooden skewers make a wonderful stand to store knives. Place the skewers in a glass or jar of an appropriate diameter. The knives should be placed very close to each other. Insert the knives into the skewers. Now they're always within easy reach and there is no danger of getting hurt by the sharp blades. We can revive slightly wilted carrots. Cut off both ends of the carrot and place it in very cold water. Let it sit for at least 2 hours. You can also put it in the fridge overnight. Our carrots are fully saturated, have become denser and more firm. They are ready to be peeled and sliced. Pour a little vegetable oil into a saucepan and add finely chopped onions, garlic, and carrot. As soon as the vegetables have become soft, we add in millet that has been rinsed and strained. Cook for a couple of minutes and then add in hot water. After about 5 minutes, when the millet begins to boil, we'll add in red lentils. Next, we'll make meatballs. Here I'm using turkey meat. Add salt and pepper to taste. We'll also add a little dried garlic, ground coriander, and a pinch of smoked paprika. Mix the ground meat well to incorporate the spices. Take a portion of ground meat and make small round meatballs on the edge of the plate using your hand. It's quick, easy, and simple. After about 5 minutes, the lentils are almost ready. Add salt into the soup to taste and carefully add in all the meatballs. To ensure the meatballs in the soup delicious and tender, they do not need to cook for a long time. Add them towards the end cooking process, when the soup is almost ready. Once the meatballs float to the top of the soup, they are ready. Our summertime soup has been prepared very quickly, and it came out delicious and satisfying, but at the same time rather light. Previously, when cooking ground meat, I would constantly stir it so that there were no lumps. But now I found a new way. Add the ground meat into the frying pan and so that it's level. Let it cook almost completely on one side. Turn over the ground meat to the other side and cook it almost completely on the other side in the same way. And now we can use a spatula or fork to break the ground meat into small pieces. This is a much faster and easier method. In this case, we'll be adding salt to our ground meat. Then add in hot water and let simmer with the lid on low heat for about 20 minutes. Look at how crumbly our ground meat turned out. Bring water to a boil. Add salt and at least a tablespoon of lemon juice. Next, we'll add rice that has been washed and rinsed. Let the water come up to a boil again and cook for about 12–15 minutes. Drain the finished rice through a sieve. Our rice has come out fluffy, fragrant, and delicious. To preserve lemons longer, wrap each one with newspaper and place it in a plastic bag. It's more convenient to use a Ziploc bag. From here, we can put it in the fridge in the fruit compartment. Here I'm making a lot of holes in a paper bag. You can use a normal hole punch, a decorative hole punch, or simply use scissors. Here we can put garlic in the bag, fold it shut, and store it in a dry, cool place. We've already shown 2 great ways to secure a small strainer. But the question is, what if the strainer doesn't have a lid? I don't have this kind of strainer, but here's a strainer that has a very small lid. Using a teaspoon is not necessary. It's very simple, we'll be using additional support. Using a large wooden spoon or a chopstick, secure them together with a stationary clip. This design is very stable. The strainer isn't going anywhere now. You can strain broth, sift the flour, use the strainer however you'd like. Here's a tip about how I store dish. I want to stack my pans, but I don't want them to scratch each other. So I cut out these circles from a type of styrofoam. You can often find it in packaging with household appliances. Alternatively, you can use disposable paper plates. To ensure that we can stack our glassware without scratching them, we'll be using separators. The separators are empty rolls of masking tape. But using disposable paper plates is also perfectly acceptable. If you need to sieve the flour, but there is no sieve or small strainer, you can use a colander. Cover it with 2 layers of cheesecloth and secure the cheesecloth with stationary clips. Using a whisk, the flour will sift through in a matter of seconds. Pour milk and water into a saucepan in equal proportions. Then add melted butter or vegetable oil. Next, add a pinch of salt and bring the mixture to a boil. As soon as it boils, add in whole grain corn flour and whole grain rice flour in equal proportions. Mix until the flour is completely incorporated and it forms into dry dough. Remove it from the heat and let it cool for 10-15 minutes. If you accidentally put boiled eggs next to each other, they are very easy to distinguish from one another. You just need to spin the egg. Raw eggs will not spin, but boiled eggs will spin like a top. Add eggs to the cooled dough, mixing in one at a time. Now we have a smooth, elastic, thick batter for our pastries. Fill a pastry bag with the batter. Here we have already placed a nozzle inside. We can wrap the pastry bag around the large glass to make it easier to fill. Cut off the tip of the bag and distribute the dough evenly inside the bag, trying to squeeze out all the air. Twist the pastry bag closed and secure it tightly with a rubber band, so as to not to spill the batter. Put the dough in the fridge for an hour and a half. The lack of excess air in the batter will help to create very beautifully eclairs. We'll be making mini eclairs, just how we like. To make the eclairs look beautiful and crispy, dust them with powdered sugar or erythritol powder on top. Place them on a baking sheet and oven and bake at 190 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. Then lower the temperature to 150 degrees Celsius and cook for another 15 minutes. Take the baking sheet out of the oven and let the eclairs cool completely. In the meantime, let's prepare the cream. I'll be using ricotta for the cream. You can also use soft cottage cheese, sweetened with sugar or any other sweetener that you prefer. Add a pinch of vanilla. Fill a pastry bag with the cream. Using a chopstick, make a hole in the bottom of each eclair and then fill it with cream.